Good morning everyone. So, welcome to my first YouTube video. It's just going to be on my mini milk airship here. There'll be a link to the Steam Workshop page in the description. Simple ship. It's got 4 railguns here. Costs 500,000, and I'll just give you a quick tour of the insides. These railguns are 125 gauge and 175 RPM belt-fed railguns. So the reason I choose belt-fed is because it looks cool, not because it's actually good. I think these guns would actually be quite a bit better if I didn't make them belt-fed, just because it would give the rails more time to charge. So you'd actually get higher DPS. Because you can just use more railgun charge consistently, whereas these, they shoot burst and then they just kind of sit there for a while. I just like these, so that's why they like this. So we just have 4 of those. Pretty nice damage. To make up for the lack of consistency of those railguns, I added these thumper frag missiles. So I like frag because they just tear holes through things. I think I watched a Borderwise video and he was using 23-degree frag because he said, you know, someone did the math and they said that this is the best. So I'm taking his word that someone else said that this is a good angle. And from testing, this is a pretty nice angle. But yeah, so these have thumper and reinforced body at the front, just because I wanted them to be more consistent, and I found that, you know, obviously remote guided with thumper is way more consistent because they don't get shot down as much and they also don't get distracted as easily. In terms of defense, we have a lot of missile interceptors. I don't know why I focus so heavily on having so much missile defense, but from my testing, these can shoot down a lot of different missiles from a lot of different craft, which is quite nice. So I think these missiles, these top ones here and here, these ones get sent out at 1,300 meters, like if there's a missile within 1,300 meters, which tends to take care of a few of them. But then if there are any others that get closer, we have these ones down here that get sent off at 700 meters. The reason I split the missiles into 2 different ranges is because I find it's just more consistent. Because otherwise you get all of your missiles going out at one time, and then there'll be missiles that get closer and there's just nothing left to deal with them. So I like to split them up into the two different ranges. So something that I've just found out recently is that you can name blocks to have these tags on them, basically, and this allows for ACBs to target specific like components. So these ones are named long, and this basically means that if there's a missile within this range, we send out the long missiles, or the long range missiles, which are these top ones here. And then the same thing is done for the short range missiles. This just keeps it really clean because otherwise it's a pain to actually link up ACBs. Like before, I think I had ACBs like everywhere. I had none here, and then here, and yeah, it was just a pain. I think I've also done this for the flashing lights. Yeah, so very small detail, but up here I've got this top little seeker thing which just blinks, and this is just done by having a light here that's set to blinking. I can't remember which one it is. Anyway, they're both set up to blink, so that's how this works. I've done a bit of breadboarding for this ship as well, and the basic, well, this is actually quite fancy here, I think, but this is originally definitely what we start off with. So we get their range. Okay. Alright. So I don't even remember putting this in, but this is basically if the ship's in the water, then we just take their altitude. If they're not in the water, if they're above that, then we take their altitude minus 25 meters. And then that gets put into here, which is the sine curve. The sine curve is used to evade mainly crams. I mean, I guess maybe if there's slow APS, it might find it harder to hit the ship, but mainly crams. So this here, the 20, this is the outer, oh, I just had a mental blank. I don't know how high up and down it goes. I can't remember the word. The amplitude, that one. So the 20 here is the amplitude, and then the 50 is the frequency. So this goes up and down quite quickly. As you can see here, the number it's outputting is going up and down quite quickly. And then this just gets added to the altitude of the enemy ship. So we'll try and stay on the same altitude as the enemy ship, a little bit further down if it's in the air, and we'll try to create a sine curve so it's harder for them to hit us with crams. That's basically what this does. And so here we have, what's this? Okay, so this is basically if there's no enemy, then we will just sit in the water at -2 altitude. And then otherwise, we'll create the sine curve and try and match the altitude of the enemy. Here we have the laser defense, which is something I added recently. I think it's pretty fancy, which basically means if we're under attack by lasers, we'll drop into the water. So this gives us the benefit of being fast and maneuverable when we need it, and then when we're getting attacked by lasers, we're in the water, so we get high defense. I think water lowers what do you call it? The armor penetration of lasers. I could be wrong about that, but then we also have smokes that also reduce the damage, I think, of lasers, if I'm remembering correctly, which is quite nice. And then just got a PID controller that tries and matches that altitude. So right now it's trying to go down because it's meant to be sitting in the water. So just in case, we're an airship, so we don't have any torpedo defense. If we're getting attacked by lasers though, we're suddenly in the water in combat. So to combat torpedoes, I have a few passive sonars down here. Ones like that. And these basically can detect torpedoes, and then this ACB here will turn off the one that's saying that we're getting attacked by lasers, which then means we'll shoot back into the air, do a little dolphin action, and then get back in the water so we're not getting attacked by lasers, and we also dodge the torpedoes. This is quite nice. I developed this after I was testing against the Titan, because I was testing it and it was all good. I was like, wow, we can now go in the water when we're getting attacked by lasers, which reduces a lot of the damage. But then I realized I had torpedoes, and we're actually taking more damage overall because now we're getting hit by torpedoes as well. So just adding this, we can now just dodge torpedoes. It actually looks quite hilarious when we're trying to get attacked by torpedoes and we're just dolphin diving around in and out of the water. Okay, I've just turned off PBR rendering textures, whatever they're called, so I can see the armor more clearly. But here we have, this is actually quite a lot of armor. I honestly feel like I probably could get rid of these layers of armor here and add more stuff inside of it, because I don't think we need this much armor, but it is always handy to have. So we have this outer layer, and then we have a air gap and a hash counter, some wooden slopes, and then we have more metal, the other two layers, and then more hash counter, and then more armor. So I think this this armor scheme isn't actually the most effective. I watched another video where they use metal slopes here instead, and then this here is the wooden beams. So I think this armor scheme is actually more effective because you get the hash counter, but then also shells that hit angled slopes have a reduced amount of damage to the actual slope. So I think this will counter the hash and then also reduce damage. I haven't done that because I'm lazy and I can't really be bothered. But yep, that's the armor here, and then round like the batteries here, I have stone because I don't want them to get hit by EMP. And then around the AI, I have another layer of wood, and then heavy armor around the whole thing. So that is quite effective. The reason that this is red, there's no reason for it to be red. It just looks cool. So whenever we're in combat, and we have someone hitting us, suddenly we get these cool patches of red where we're getting damaged, and yeah, I just think it looks cool, so that's why we have red on the inside. Yep. Another thing that I found out recently was that using this menu here is actually quite useful at seeing the drag factor of everything. So at the front here, something new that I've done is using these inverted slopes. I don't know why I chose inverted slopes, but this is just what I'm doing it with. We can actually see that this is quite dense and is giving us like almost the maximum amount of drag reduction. So from the front it's 0.1. I think the least is this, so that'd be 0.075, and slopes are 0.1. So these actually give the same reduction as slopes do, which is quite useful. Okay, these are the least, so it's 0.05. So I think if I use more wedges, maybe it could get it slightly faster, but here I'm just using all the slopes and then interlocking these. So I think from my testing, making this craft, basically you can't have something here. So if I was to put a metal beam here, this here would lose its drag efficiency. Basically because, well, it just didn't. But basically if it flows, oh no, it's if it's here. Okay, if this beam was here, suddenly this beam loses its drag efficiency because it can't, the game goes, oh, it can't pass the air on to anywhere else. So by leaving this end block open on all of these means that the game thinks, oh, it can pass air past back to this bit here. And that just means that I can have this really tight 4 meter drag reduction without actually extending this out further into the front. And then here we have these cool little vents. This was just something that happened because I was trying to reduce the drag. But yeah, I think it turned out actually looking pretty cool. When I turn back on the decorations, the mimics, it actually looks pretty nice. And it means that we get an extra about, I think it's like, before I did this, we were going about 70 meters per second, and I think now we can get up to like 93 meters per second. So this actually did help quite a bit, which is quite useful. I think now I'm gonna show a battle between the Mini Milk and the Titan. The Titan's actually the thing that I've been testing against the most, and is the reason why I developed the defense against lasers and torpedoes at the same time. I believe the Titan is slightly more expensive. How much is this? Yeah, this is 390, and then this is 480. I don't know if that includes the bottom and the top though, so I guess we'll see. Alright, well, I don't really know how to test that, but yeah, this is just the ship that I've been testing against. Don't ask me why. So yeah, you can see here, it's now got the smoke on, and it should now dip back into the water. I think it might be in the air because there were torpedoes. So, can I enable this again? It is enabled. Alright, so now it's dropping back into the water. Okay. We'll see if when there are torpedoes it will jump back into the air. But yeah, so this water is helping stop the lasers from doing a bunch of damage. Oh yeah, and here come the torpedoes now, so we'll see if it... Yep, there it goes. Just gonna do a little jump in the air. The torpedoes get confused. So now after 40 seconds, I think it was set to, we'll drop back into the water. I had to set this quite high because what tended to happen was that it would jump into the air and then immediately stop detecting torpedoes, and so then it would fall back into the water. But that would just mean that the torpedoes would come back around and hit us again. So by having it stay in the air for a bit longer, it means that we completely avoid those torpedoes that are now probably off there somewhere. I think the original shells that I had kept getting shot out by the LAM system, so when I changed it to the railgun, kinetic railgun, I think they've been faring quite a bit better against the Titan. I don't know which bit we're targeting right now. It looks like we're targeting the bottom. But yeah, that's another thing, because these missiles have the thumper head and the reinforced body. It means that they hit quite consistently and do quite a bunch of damage. So yeah. Yeah, so it looks like now we've dropped back into the water to stop the laser damage. So yeah, as soon as that happens, the Titan tends to send out the missiles again. So we'll just try to avoid that, I think. Yep, there we go, back in the air. Yeah, so because these are belt-fed loaders, the damage isn't as consistent from them. And they'll probably start firing soon. Oh yeah, looks like we've got a few shells. Okay, so one missile did get shot out, but overall most of them do hit. That's another thing. The torpedoes always seem to hit the bottom here as well, because they fire out the back. Okay, looks like some of the turrets are back online. I don't know if any of the shells will be getting through though, because of the lambs. Oh no, looks like they're doing pretty good damage. So it looks like another 4 missiles out of the 6 hit. And yep, so there are the torpedoes, and looks like we've successfully dodged most of them, almost all of the volleys that's been sent out so far. Yeah, so, oh, okay, so these seem to be okay. Sometimes what will happen is, because this time we jump down and then immediately drop back into the water, those missiles will turn around, I mean the torps will turn around, but looks like we're okay. Can tend to be quite stable up until about 60% health. Oh, looks like we've destroyed the vehicle holder. So out of about 6 volleys, I think we've avoided 5 of them with this system here, jumping into the air, which is quite nice. I think overall, this ship definitely struggles the most with APS rounds, because it's in the air, so against kinetic rounds they do the full impact, they're not getting slowed by the water, and also because it doesn't have any shields or anything, so, or lambs. I think if I was going to upgrade this ship, it would probably need some shields on it, just because it struggles the most with lamb systems. I think that was definitely apparent when I was testing against the, what are they called? The white flare? Yeah. I think a few of these ships I was testing against could actually chunk us out quite heavily and destroy some of the turrets, because just the stacked armor that I've used isn't as good against the kinetic shells that they use. That just about wraps up this video. So thanks for watching, guys. It's been quite fun to show off my vehicle. Haven't done a YouTube video before. If people do like this video, I'll probably make another one. So if you have liked, please leave a like. That would be great to see if people actually like this video. I've got a few other craft that I can show off. This one in the background that I spawned in is the big brother, the big milk. I'm not as good at building bigger craft. I haven't really done that before. I tend to work on just smaller craft like this one. But yeah, I tested this against the Megalodon and it got absolutely destroyed, even though it's worth about the same. I think the Megalodon's a bit more expensive, but I definitely have a ways to go about building bigger craft like this. But yeah, I'll probably do another video on this smaller loaf here, loaf V4, which is probably one of my favorite craft next to these two here. But it's quite powerful for how much it costs, and yeah, I quite enjoyed making it. So, oh yeah, it's also the craft that I learned how to use the bread loaf on. So, breadboard, sorry. Hence the name, the loaf. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.